Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Here we are, clutching our warm beverage in our hand, taking a sip. Oh, goodness, that was a good invention. I want to begin today by saying I am so excited to be back at the 10 o'clock slot. I know that it's been a conversation for a while that it would be great to do evening slots. It's just that stuff happens, things come up, and I I love to be able to say, I will see you. I will see you at this time. I will be there. And the confabulation of trying to figure out how to juggle morning, evening is a lot. And I know you understand that because we're all juggling. Good morning, Eddie. Good morning. And so today, getting started, I wanted to say a couple of things first. Welcome, welcome. I got a notice from LinkedIn that I had 900 connections. I don't mean connects on LinkedIn, but watching the videos last week alone. Huzzah! You guys are just kicking it out of the park. Thank you. I also have my favorite fabulous followers, of course, on Facebook, of course, on YouTube after all this time. And we're just nudging Twitch and Instagram into the mix. So I'm very grateful. Thank you. And also today, we still have some construction going on, and we've got a pause in the painters. So everything's a bit in flux. And I think that's a great way to start the conversation today, because it's feeling like every year in this part of the world where we get the cold and the warm, the weeks leading up to the 24th of May weekend are always, the eager gardeners. We're going out and we're turning over the garden and we're buying stuff and planting stuff. And then quite often we've got snow. A couple of years when I was growing tulips, they would come up sort of like this, because they'd come up almost, not quite, and then freeze. And it was like they all had a hangover. So patience is one of the themes today, this week being, so Tuesday. So this is day 3 of Mom's Week, right? Day 3 of Mom's Week. Mother's Day doesn't seem to be long enough to celebrate the amazing things that all of our beautiful, crazy, fabulous, nurturing guardians and guides bring to us, right? And it's not relegated to any particular group. Our nurturers, our fierce bear protectors, we owe you a debt of gratitude. We owe you for the gathering and the collecting and the confabulating and the changing of the smallest to the largest details that mean everything. So I'm intent on celebrating for the whole week, because why not? So that's out of the way, the thank yous, the welcomes, and the brace yourselves, it's still Mom's Week. I want to talk about something really important today. And it's about us. It's about thee and me. It's about our attitude about the way things are going. It's about, so I have to just click that. I hadn't clicked it. One of the things that I run into a lot when I'm talking about resilience, when I'm talking about how to keep showing up, is the perfectly natural, perfectly normal, perfectly understandable exhaustion, the overwhelm, the not now. I want to volunteer. I love being a hero. At the moment, I'm a little busy face down on the kitchen floor, and can we have a rain check on that? It's easy when you are in let's go get 'em mode to forget what it was like. I had a very important conversation the other day with somebody who is struggling, and I made a horrible mistake that was important to make, because it was an eye-opener for me, of all people. And that was, I was confused by the things they were saying, because we had previously said them. We had previously had the identical conversation. And I was confused because I thought they'd forgotten that they had talked to me. I was concerned that they didn't think I knew. I was a little frantic that somehow they felt they were cut adrift, set adrift, and I wasn't engaged to the best of my ability. And so I was asking these questions and getting no answers. And then it hit me. I had my own little aha, my mini flashback, that this was not a new conversation. This was the voice in the darkness at the bottom of the mine, still reaching out for help, still saying, is anybody out there? Is anybody out there? And when I had said, yes, here I am, they hadn't heard me. Why hadn't they heard me? Why anybody doesn't hear any of us? Because the loop tape in our head is on loud volume. It's on the highest volume there is. And the unhelpful loop tape is drowning out all the voices. When we close our eyes to shut out the noise, we also shut out the hands reaching out to help. And it's not their fault. It's not our fault when we're in that space. There is no blame to place further on our shoulders. There is no judgment value in how well you're coping. There is no hard and fast rule that you should be able to do better than this. It's not that bad. Suck it up. Those are inappropriate and they don't apply. Because every pain we experience, every feeling of loss, disorientation, confusion, exhaustion is entirely subjective. It's entirely based on our pain threshold and all of the baggage we've tripped over, all of the bruises, all of the sore, aching muscles, the energy muscles and the caring muscles. No one else can tell us how much of an uphill this is. No one can be exactly in our shoes. And when we're exhausted, we don't have the time, the room, the energy, the words to say so. So we were in this conversation, and I was in mid-statement when it hit me, when I saw what I was doing, what was going on. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. And the answer was no apologies required. And I thought, yes, there are. Not required. Yes, needed. Yes, to let people know. It's not that we don't care. It's not that we're not here. It's that in this moment we were facing the wrong way. We didn't know it was dark in there. We didn't know how far down it was. We didn't know you hadn't heard us. And one of the tools that I had created before this conversation that ironically, thank you, universe, ironically is so appropriate right now. I'm going to show it to you in just a second. And by the way, on the strength of it, I created another one this morning. So this is what I did yesterday. Now, it's the same letter. I didn't create a 9 and then a 6. It's the same letter. I just reversed it. I just turned it upside down. And I did it when it occurred to me that this is, in many ways, the absolute simplest, most basic example of why we misunderstand each other. We're saying the same thing. We mean the same thing. One of us is just facing it the wrong way, a different way. See? And when this happens, when we do this, when we feel that we are not heard, when we feel that we are the only one down here in the dark, calling out for help, banging on the door, on the wall, hoping someone hears us and has the time and the ability and the willingness to rescue us, to reach down and give us a hand so that we can bring ourselves out of wherever we're stuck. When we feel that no one can hear our six, it doesn't mean they're not listening. It means that what they hear through their filters, through their life, through their history, sounds like a 9, looks like a 9. And I'm not saying 9 is close to 10. I'm just saying it's the same, only different. We all have the same need. We all have the same right and responsibility to connect, to feel connected, to engage, to be engaged, to share, to be cherished. We all have exactly the same need for it and right to it because it's how we're wired. It's who we are. That's right, Eddie. Yeah, the 9 and the 6 lying on the ground. I had a little joke about it. You know when you go shopping for shoes? And they helpfully put a line underneath the number. You still have to ask them which number it is because they know which one they put it under, but I don't. So if you just say, oh yes, I'll take this, and you get either that or this, right? So this is that meme, except that it's in my hand. And it's not that we're arguing about it so much as we're confused by what we hear and the filter through which we hear it. And when I have these conversations, because there is so much conversation going on, when somebody comes along, we're all little bees in a hive, and somebody comes along and shakes the hive, and all the bees are buzzing around and confused and trying to get reoriented, make sure the queen's okay. You know what the bees aren't doing? They're not collecting honey. The bees aren't maintaining the hive. They're reacting to the external that hit us in panic and survival mode. And what we are capable of is translating panic, react, survival into strategic respond, thrive. We know how to do that. Our challenge is we don't know that we know it. The reason we don't know that we know it is because it goes on back here. It's not something we consciously think about. If we knew, if we were aware that we use this process, we would be less frightened, less adrift, less alone. Because we would be able to say, all I need to do is turn my head and get the other perspective. I tell a story quite often, and I'll tell it again in a minute, about that perspective. And I talk a lot about the can't see the forest because we are the tree. And I will talk about that in a minute. But before I get there, I want to show you the one that occurred to me this morning. So I want you to tell me, is that a 1? Or is it a 10? Good morning, Freddie. It's so good to see you. I was waiting for the word filter to come out. The first thing I thought of when I saw the image was seeing the 6 or the 9 through our own filters. Exactly, Eddie, exactly. So isn't this one interesting? What are we looking at today? Are we looking at a 1? Or is it a 10? And who has the power in their hands to choose to see it either way? We do. When we're exhausted, when everything seems to be falling down on us, it feels like a 1. It feels like a 0-1. When we're coming through the day, not only unscathed, but got a couple of wins, feels closer to a 10. So the conversation that I was having, before I get to my 2 stories, the conversation that I was having in the last couple of days is about what I can do and what is needing to be done. What I can do, what is needing to be done. My project that I've been working on for 7 years now, I looked at the calendar and realized it's been 7 years. My Pivotry project, which is coming to terms with the fact that we have skills, that we have tools. The only reason we don't use them is we're not aware that the tools are there. We're not aware that the skills are hardwired in. It is not a thing to blame or shame or feel guilt about. It is an opportunity, like saying, I just found $20 in my pocket. This is the way it is helpful to look at what's going on. So if someone says, I'm tired and I'm scared and I need a hug, and we are there and we can do that, then we should. We should give, as we can, the hug people are needing, that are missing, that is the difference between feeling alone and lost and helpless and broken and feeling belonging, knowing someone cares. It's a simple hug. And if we can't do it in person, we can do it virtually. We can, in our voice, say, on video, in our expressions, say, you matter. We care. I care. It's important. If it's important to you, it's important to me. If you don't have the energy, that's okay. I can just sit here. I got nowhere I would rather be. If we can do this for each other, in the moments when we're just exhausted, when we feel very small, when it's inner child time, and we just need a hug and a blanket and a cookie and maybe some shoes. And the person who gets it about us and doesn't judge. We deserve to have those things. We also deserve to be those things for the people we care about, the people we love who love us. We have this capacity. This is our special gift. We can easily forget when our focus is on all the big stuff over there, all the noise. When we are the worker bees in the hive and something shakes the hive, there is a tendency to swirl and swarm because it feels unsafe. Our primary job, though, is the queen. Our primary job is keeping her safe, is keeping her alive. Because without this beating heart, there is no tribe. There is no hive. So we can tackle what's real and important right here, or we can climb on our horses and ride off to do battle with the great other. We can't do both at the same time. And there is a tendency, there is a temptation to want to be part of the big fix. There is an opportunity for people who are in the right place, in the right position, with the right skills, to in fact do that, to be that. And to the extent that we can support them, we should. It's important. First importance is safe here, safe here, safe here. First importance is thee and me. First importance is the tribe in the cave. Because as each tribe in each cave is safe, and that feeling of sanctuary multiplies in cave after cave after cave after cave. This is our great hive. This is our strength. Our power is in numbers. And if we ride off into battle exhausted, ride off into battle confused, ride off into battle not really sure what we're fighting for and how and why and when and with what, then we're just riding off in all directions, exhausting the horse. My dad always used to say, pick your battles. When I was in my very, very independent, idealistic stage, which is quite often 5 minutes ago, but more constant when I was 12, 10, he would say, we can't fight all the dragons. We can't do it all the time. Pick your dragons. Pick the one that makes you feel like you've changed the game. He wanted me to learn to focus. He wanted me to understand that there are two ways to see the world, many, but two, and one is here and here is the other. Can I fix this? Yes. Can I fix the other? The old joke about the fellow who says, my wife and I, we get along. We've been a successful couple for years and years because we divide the task. We divide the labor from each according to his ability. My wife looks after the bills and the house and the kids and the shopping and just basically taking care of us. And I look after world peace from my armchair in front of the TV. So my two stories are these. I was a temp, a substitute teacher for a while. I got recommended and I did it quite often until somebody realized I hadn't actually gone to teachers college and didn't actually have the piece of paper. And then it all came to a screaming halt. But one of the classes I was in, I walked and they all knew it was a substitute. So they're all, acting up accordingly. And there was one boy at the back of the class, a typical Fonzie leather jacket thing and going on. And he was sitting, those desks that they used to have, the tabletop is actually attached to the seat. So he was not sitting in the seat. He was sitting on the tabletop with his feet on the seat. And so clearly facing the wrong way, clearly facing the back of the room. So when I saw him and everybody was sort of laughing and pointing and whispering and wondering how I was going to handle the troublemaker in the class, because clearly he had elected himself troublemaker in the class, I I I did the reverse. I ignored him for a bit, and then I pretended that I had just noticed that there he was, alone in the wilderness. And so, hang on a second. So I made a big, elaborate production of not really understanding what I was looking at, looking over my shoulder, walking like this, walking like that, looking confused, and then idea, walked all the way around to the back, walked up to him, and I didn't touch him or anything, but I leaned over and I put my hands like this. And in the loudest stage whisper ever heard, I said, "You're facing the wrong way." And then I patted him on the shoulder and headed back to the front of the class. So I won. But then, I was cheating. So I knew what I was going to do, and I knew the outcome. He didn't. He had just said his moment. He had his sword, and he was claiming his territory. And I just went over and said, "It's not yours. You're in the wrong spot." And so, what happens when we get ourselves in a position where we have staked a claim and it is not serving our purpose? It's awkward. It's difficult. We are embarrassed because we don't know how to stand down without losing face. So when I was at the front of the room, because I didn't want to humiliate him, I just wanted him to turn around and be part of the class. And I said, it is so easy. I remember the first time I sat in one of these desks, I had no idea how to make use of it. And sometimes, I'll have a rough morning and I'll come in and I'll look and I'll think, are they facing the right way? And I have to pay attention because I'm distracted by so much stuff. So whatever your name is, whenever you're ready, just the way it works, and I know you know this, but whatever. You're not supposed to sit on the top thing. You sit on the bottom thing, which then turns you around at your leisure. And then I ignored him and carried on with the class so that he didn't have to choose that hill to die on. He didn't have to defend his arrogance and be the last man standing. I wanted him to have room. And I was only there for that one day, so I have no idea. No idea whatever happened to him. But the idea that there is a way to make your feelings known, a way to lean in to your passion, a way to celebrate your core self without giving everything else away. And the other story, the other thing I want to say to you today is this. It is when we are in fear mode, survival mode, when we're looking at the big picture that seems overwhelming and we don't even know where to begin, that our brain, our surviving brain, stops looking at options. That surviving brain, the mammalian brain, the animal brain, only knows fight or flee. It doesn't know negotiate. It's pre-verbal in the first place. It doesn't know that there's a door number 3. It's too old for that. You don't negotiate with a saber-toothed whatnot when it's lunchtime. You run and hide or get a grenade. The thing is that we have evolved from that. We still need to be able to survive. We still need to have our skills ready. We also have permission and the ability to do that third thing, to do the negotiation, to understand that we don't have to react, that we can respond. We don't have to be the victim. We don't have to be the prey or the predator. We can be a participant. We can look for ways to align our purpose. That kid at the back in Fawn's gear, he didn't have to be all or nothing. Neither did I. He was staking his territory because he had to show up tomorrow. He showed up yesterday. I was only there for today. And he wanted to make sure that he didn't lose ground. It's understandable. However, he was selling himself short because he had attitude and guts and passion and a certain element of mischief and risk that is hard to resist. And my job, my goal was not to squash him, but to encourage him to use his power for profit, to have fun with it instead of anger and bitterness, to walk like this instead of like this, because this one's a lot more fun and attracts a lot more followers. So a friend of mine was talking about weight. And here it is, it's the middle of May, and we thought we were going to be ready for swimsuit season. And we're not. I personally know 2 people, maybe 2.5. I know 2 people for absolute sure. 2.5, who are ready for swimsuit season. I know them, I see them on a regular basis, and they are forces to be reckoned with. And I look at them and I say, I'm right behind you. Hold the door. I won't be long. And they laugh. I'm not bitter. I don't feel like an idiot. They work at it every day, all the time. I work at other stuff. Should I work at it every day? Yes. Do I? No. Am I human? Yes. Do I regret it? Yes. When I start working out again, it really hurts. Yes. Do I learn? Yeah, sometimes. So this is what I wanted to say, to kind of bring this around to a positive angle. Okay? It's a 10. It's a 1. You get to choose. These are your numbers. You get to decide which way to flip it. They're your numbers. And either way, you're right. You're 100%. Same for this. If it's a shoe you're buying, you're either going to have a great deal of difficulty and pain, or a great deal of difficulty and eye rolling and smacking of the forehead, depending on which one you pick that isn't the one that works for you. It doesn't matter which way you turn it. We own the outcome. When someone hands us a 1, we can add the 0. It's our decision whether we put the 0 in front or behind. When someone hands us a 6, we can flip it. If they give us the number, it's ours to own. It's ours to use. It's ours to choose which one best reflects us. Henry Ford famously once said, no matter whether you think you're going to win or lose, you're right. Because as soon as we think it and feel it, we own it, it becomes us. And I think the umbrella, I'm very fond of umbrella ideas, because you think of an umbrella with the automatic little handle. You hold this handle, you push the button, and it goes foop, And all of a sudden, it's not just you holding your protection against the world. By pushing that button, activating your special power, we have many different ways of protecting ourselves. And the fabric that we stretch between us keeps us dry in the rain and cool in the sun. And it's ours to own, ours to choose, ours to use. Last analogy. I'm throwing out a bunch of them because I want you to be able to choose exactly, enlarging your scope. Exactly, Freddie. If you decide that your metaphor is cake, and you choose what kind of cake you are, and you choose whether or not you have icing, whether or not you have sprinkles, whether or not there's a cherry on top, whether or not there's a candle, you get to choose what kind of cake. Could be sensible cake. It could be fruit cake with those nuggets of pain that crack your teeth, hidden cleverly inside with those tiny little bullets of nuts and whatnot. Whatever kind of cake it is, you're the cake. You're the cake. You're the treat at the end of the day. Okay, there's the metaphor. Now, a cake is a combination of ingredients. It isn't one of those things, poof, cake. No. Cake exists on the other side of the equals sign, right? Reverse, right? Equals over there. Cake is the outcome. The intention and the process are the bringing together of the ingredients. I'm not very good at baking. I do know that there are several ingredients that are essential to cake. I know that most of them have eggs. They have some kind of liquid. They have something to sweeten and something to bind and something to flavor. And depending on which ones and how much of you put into the bowl, it changes the cake you end up with. How you mix them, how you bake it, gives you completely different outcomes. So the metaphor we're looking at today is, did we choose the ingredients? Yes? Okay. Did we mix the ingredients? Yes? Okay. Did we figure out a way to cook whatever it is, the glop inside the container? Did we do that? Yes. And when it came out, did it meet our expectations? Yes. Then it's our cake. And we get to eat it. We are the cake. We get to savor our ingredients. We get to present them to the world. We get to offer ourselves as a treat, as something nutritious, as something delicious. We are the cake. What happens externally, what happens down the road, what happens to other people in other places, far away or up close, whatever happens to them, if we choose cake, we are the cake. If we choose to feed a small group of us because this is our tribe, this is our cave, we are sharing who we are and what we are to fuel, to energize each other, to celebrate each other. If we make enough cake for everybody, great. Once we've fed our own, we can go and feed others. We can go and teach others how to gather their ingredients and make their cake. And Eddie, if you're singing Ethel Merman's song, it's a great day. It's a cake-worthy day. So number crunching, yes. Well, good morning, Marnie. Good morning, Miss Marnie. Yes, Marnie, among many who know me well, appreciates the vast irony of me talking about cooking. Like I know what I'm doing, with a great deal of aplomb. Cakeification. New word. Cakeification. I'm writing it down. Cake if I cation. Oh, it's like a vacation, right? Cake if I can. Cakeification. All right. Cakeifying is bringing together our many ingredients, mixing according to taste, cooking until it's golden, and then offering our loved ones a taste. How about that? When there are many terrible things going on, cooking by the numbers, yeah, the Abby method, yeah. Where is it? How's your cake, Ab? Who made the cake? Abby? Uh, the Abby Hager story. Now that's funny. Cooking by numbers. Um, Step one. What I want us to think about, because this was a huge lesson for me yesterday, and I think it's probably a huge lesson for a lot of us. People are going through things all the time. All of us, all the time, every day, awake and asleep. We're going through things. We cannot be there for them all the time without sacrificing time for us. We cannot be there for us exclusively without sacrificing time for them. And therefore, it's a balance. I did a show a long time ago that I tried, I liked it, and then I thought to myself, I'm going to set it aside and come back to it at some point. And I'm just drawing this thing for you. So it's not very dark, but it's the capital letter I. And what I did when I created it, what I did, see, it's stupid. What I did when I created it was I called the concept first person singular. First person singular is I. I am, I do, I think. I'm in this oven, therefore I must be. I think, therefore I am. First person singular is I. And when I did the capital letter, the serif capital letter, I was looking at it and I said to myself, okay, so that shape, that is a doorway. That is a window. And through that door, through that window, is our opportunity to either focus exclusively on me, first person singular, or peer through and see all of us individually standing there, all the trees in the forest who don't even know the forest is there because they're trees, they can't turn their heads. In order to feel connected, in order to feel that they belong, in order to feel loved and cherished and safe, they have to come to terms with the fact that they're facing the wrong way. If we were able to come to a tree, give it a hug, and turn its head so the tree could see how many there are of us, that would be pretty cool. In the absence of being able to do that, the trees have formed a network below the ground, and they communicate through the roots. It's a great lesson. It's a great metaphor, and it's a great idea. When somebody yells, instead of just getting up and running, we have the opportunity to connect to each other. We have the opportunity to say, give me a second, and look at the best use of our skills. My conversation the other day was, of course, go if you feel you must. Of course, fight if you feel you have to. Just remember, there's a fight here too. There's a fight on the ground, in amongst us, not to survive, but to thrive together, to be the cake. And if you choose to go, we'll wish you well. If you choose to stay, we'll keep you safe. Every single one of us has the opportunity to choose. Now, I'm not a group animal. It's been brought to my attention several times, and I say it quite often. I'm not comfortable in a group. I was an only child. We travel a lot. I don't know. The first time I sat down at a table for a meal in a family, there were 6 kids. I felt like I had accidentally walked into Grand Central Station. And when the mother had said, okay, we're a hungry crowd, Abby, don't be afraid to elbows up and dig in. And I was so overwhelmed by the sheer number of the people and the noise and the motion that I couldn't move. I couldn't act. I couldn't just say, that one's mine, even though I'm perfectly capable. Because I was completely uprooted and in a foreign space and place. And I didn't know what to do in the face of all that energy. I needed a smaller tribe to belong to. We are all facing that right now. We are all feeling that we have somehow become displaced. We went to bed, it was fine. We woke up, and what the hell happened while I was gone? And we can spend a lot of time asking that question. Or we can put our pants on and our shoes. Pants first, then shoes. And choose where we do the most good right now. So you can be a 1 or a 10. You can be a 9 or a 6. And it doesn't matter how the numbers were handed to you. Once they're in your hands, you get to choose what the number is. We own. It's not be the change. We are change. We leverage change because change is part of us. We don't have to become. We already are. We just every so often need someone to give us a hug and remind us that we are loved. And today, I was here to do that for me and you because it's Mom Week. You know what moms are like. So I'm going to love you and leave you now. There's things to do. The drilling has stopped temporarily, and I'm going to take advantage of it, doing a couple of things that require quiet. I have some exciting things coming along this week. I want to talk to you about more on Thursday. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank you for sharing. I want to thank you for prioritizing what this has become. This is episode 357. And I am just so delighted because, as all of you in the biz know, without an audience, it's a rehearsal. And where's the fun in that? So be good to you. You deserve it. You are the cake. Have a sprinkle. Remember that your loved ones love you and they want the best for you and with you. If you can stay and fight, brilliant. If you have to go, we'll be waiting. Because love is unconditional. So give them a hug too. They deserve it. And I will catch you next time.